Welcome to Channel 18 News. I'm Jim Rogers. When Quentin Latham, age 17, was arrested for possession of a controlled substance, penalty group 3, over 28 grams but under 200 grams, he dropped 3 pills on the floor in the bookend room of the local jail. Those 3 pills were Xanax that had also been found when he was arrested on a traffic stop. The 3 pills had not been found among the other pills during that traffic stop. Video in the bookend room captured Blake Adam Friddle, age 21, a trustee of Hopkins County Jail, as he was performing the duties of a trustee. Friddle picked up the 3 pills and returned to the general population of the jail carrying them. Friddle is now charged with tampering with evidence with intent to impair, a felony 3. That charge was also added to Latham's list. Latham is being held on a total of $20,000 in bonds, Friddle being held on a misdemeanor charge of possession and an indictment for off-surety of bond engaged in organized crime. Friddle is now being held on a total of $40,000 in bonds. Hopkins County Hospital District Board authorized the remount of Medic 6, heard reports regarding nursing homes owned, and employed Ron Falwell as manager of the district during their meeting Monday night in the hospital conference room. Medic 6 will mount the emergency medical service box on a new chassis and be restored. According to EMS, a remount on a medic unit will be done on a yearly basis. Currently, there are 7 units. Medic 7 will be a total replacement next year, as its age and mileage have led it to its demise. The remount is a cost saver for the district. According to new district manager Ron Falwell, the Standard & Poor's bond rating for the district has improved from a B to an A- rating. The improvement is credited to the partnership agreement with Christus. He stated he would be meeting with Moody's soon to discuss improving rates there. Falwell, elected to serve as district manager during the Monday night meeting, stated that he has spent the past 2 weeks learning people and their roles, establishing an office in the EMS building, and moving through the learning curve regarding the district's expenses and income. Paul Harvey, Christus Mother Frances Sulphur Springs CEO, said physician recruitment is underway. He stated a GI physician is currently a part of a large group in Atlanta, Georgia, and is considering a regional practice for both Sulphur Springs and Winsboro under the Christus umbrella. Harvey said the recruitment of physicians would be directed by the Christus system in Tyler to lower expenses of recruitment. New contracts are in the work for local physicians associated with Christus Trinity Clinic. A new general surgeon is also being sought to assist Dr. Scott McDermott, who is currently the only general surgeon. Harvey stated that Dr. Lennington would provide backup until an additional surgeon was located. He also noted that residency programs for doctors would begin with the first-year resident in February. 4 residents per year will be in Sulphur Springs as the program develops. He stated the doctors will be in Tyler for 1 year, then come to Sulphur Springs for 2 years. Harvey said a resurvey of the hospital is underway and an action plan has been turned in. He stated the hospital staff has accomplished much in the past few months. The resurvey will take a period of 3 days, and he hopes it will take place before Christmas. He stated the hospital will have paid Greeley, a hospital consulting firm that has assisted the hospital to make corrections for compliance during the past year. They will be paid approximately $2 million for their services. Tuesday was the 3rd report day for Hopkins County United Way.
Well, they did tell me it was all day. The money jakes will do it all day.
No pressure on
No, because everybody's staring at it. That's fine, just give a disclaimer.
Hey, that's the cool thing about sitting in this chair. She's actually really the campaign chair. I've said that the whole time, but I get like a 30-second head start on the numbers. So this week, our total $46,134.29. That's a big number. I appreciate all y'all. That brings our campaign total to $97,062.79. So we're sitting pretty. We've got a lot of other things coming in, and a lot of other folks that are committed to doing these things, and I appreciate y'all's hard work. I know it takes a lot of time and efforts, and we all have our actual jobs that we're doing on top of these things. So thank y'all very, very much. This is awesome.
Yeah, it's a group effort.
Absolutely. That's a big week.
Yeah, it was a great week.
Thank you, guys. Hey, next week the meeting is Wednesday, not Tuesday. I think we inadvertently scheduled it around the voting, but it was the wrong week.
That was my mistake.
No. But she confirmed it with me. I said, that sounds great. But it was like 6 months ago, right? So
This one and one more.
this one and one more.
When you go get your payroll deduction check?
Hey, we have some of these commitments through, such as Ocean Spray today. A lot of those are the payroll deductions, and we have other companies coming in as well. The next week, we'll get a large amount of those commitments via payroll deduction.
Tell me about Muddy Jake's.
Muddy Jake's, they're doing on, just so I can have the flyer here in front of me, on October the 27th. They're doing a give back. They're donating 10% of the sales for that day to Hopkins County United Way. All you got to do is show up and eat, and they're giving back.
Do you have to take a flyer or identify, or they just...
They're just giving back 10% of the sales that day, so it's pretty easy to go up there.
Tuesday found a crowded early voting room as 877 made their way to vote early at the Justice of the Peace courtroom located in the County Tax Office JP Building, 128 Jefferson Street. Early voting is taking place for the November general election. County Clerk Debbie Shirley said 385 ballots by mail have already been returned. Over 700 ballot by mail were mailed from her office. Shirley said that all went well and equipment worked well on the first day of voting. She reminds voters that they are not allowed to wear any cap, button, T-shirt, or other apparel that is political in nature or makes a political statement. Early voting begins at 8 a.m. each day. Early voting is open until 5 p.m. Parking at the new Jefferson Street parking lot, accessed off Rosemont Street, is being used by many voters. Here's Don Julian with sports.
Wildcats football offensive coordinator Matt Young gives us his thoughts on the offense last Friday against Mount Pleasant, and he tells us about the Greenville defense that the Wildcats will be seeing this Friday.
I'm really proud of how our kids played. The thing that keeps coming up, we just didn't finish. Whether it was the last drive, not getting in the end zone, having to settle for a field goal, or a couple of drives that got across midfield and came up just short, whether it was a 4th and 2 stop or a 3rd and 5 unable to convert. The execution level was really good. I thought our kids played with great effort. Lawrence Worth had his best season running the ball, and Colton Allen complimented him well. The big guys up front, Jesus Olivo stepped in, did a tremendous job at right tackle. He's been playing kind of a backup role all year, getting snaps, but played all night Friday night and really did a solid job. And just that collective group up front gave an opportunity with us to run the football and cover bodies up. I thought Ryan played really well in the back. Quarterback decision making, we knew going in he'd have the ability to run the football. Just the way they dropped and took things away pass wise, he took advantage of it really well. And we like how these guys are playing. Really, the theme we're taking into this week is we got to finish.
But this is the way they played the pass, the way they dropped and, into everything. It was a tough night trying to establish pass.
Yeah, we went in with the idea we were going to run at them. We weren't, and we had some success doing that. Sometimes, in hindsight, I wish we'd have thrown a little bit more at a couple of moments, but we were getting push and getting movement. It just stalled out. We weren't able to finish it doing that. Passing game wise, I think we ended up throwing 11 passes. But there was about 4 or 5 others that Ryan scrambled, and they were really not design scrambles, but good scrambles because of the depth they got, and he was able to get productive yardage off of those. So not as much as we have. I mean, game plan wise, we really played right to the plan we had. It just we weren't able to finish.
Look in the district standings, the rankings that we get, and Greenville's statistics on defense are not that bad.
They're solid. They're, I believe, 2nd in yardage, giving up. They do a good job of not giving up the home run. They're very base in what they do. They have possibly the best defensive lineman in the district, defensive tackle. He's very, very talented, kind of referring to him as a baby sap. we got to definitely account for him and do our job, our due diligence with him for us to have an opportunity to be successful. The back end, they fly to the ball, and they just they know their jobs because they don't do a lot of stuff. They just are sound in what they do and make you earn it down the field.
Kind of my feeling on the coach show Saturday was that if Mount Pleasant was desperate last week, I think the desperation shifts to us. Now this is really a must-win game for us. Yeah,
we're basically in a playoff mode right now that you got to win the next two to get in. So it's all about this week. There's not holding anything back. Make sure we shoot all our bullets, and I think our kids understand that. There was a little bit of lag yesterday, and it really was just pain from the loss. These guys have put in a tremendous amount of time. I thought they played with tremendous effort the other night, and just the scoreboard came up a few points short. So they'll give everything they have Friday night and in pursuit of what they want to do, which is to get the Wildcats back in the playoffs.
Wildcats football defensive coordinator Tristan Abram assesses the defensive play against Mount Pleasant, and he looks at the Greenville offense that the Wildcats will see Friday night.
With the exception of two plays, I felt like we played really well, and that's kind of crazy to say, but going back to their first touchdown that they scored, it was a play that they were running the toss. We had talked about the toss the week before, and they were running that, and we did a great job of pursuing it on the play side, and then the running back cut it back to the back side, and we had two guys there, that were the cutback players, and they were both in position, and we just didn't make a play. So that gave up the first score, and then after the first touchdown, we went out. I believe it was after a turnover, maybe, and the very first play after the turnover, we try to tell our guys very often, hey, when we got to go on the field at any given time, be it a sudden change or whatever, we got to be ready to put the fire out. We're like firemen. There's a fire that was started. We got to go put the fire out with the least amount of damage as possible. And we didn't go do that, on that second touchdown. But you take those two plays out of the equation, I felt like we played pretty decent defense. We for the most part, slowed down their running attack and made it tough for them to get into scoring position. It's great to make people punt. We made them punt several times. The last defensive series that we defended, we're in position to keep them out of field goal range. It's 4th and 12, and we have a coverage bust in which that put them in position to where, here we go, that's a 15-yard penalty, gets them closer to the end zone. We come out and we play good defense for 3 downs, but again, they're close enough now to where they can kick it and they kick a field goal and win the game. So there are so many unfortunate things that happen as far as from our standpoint, but with all that being said, I'm pleased with the effort that the guys were giving. Again, talking about a cutback, the ball kept cutting back because we were playing fast. We're running to the football, and it opened up some lanes backside. So I can't be angry with their effort. We just got to, again, it's a big play factor. We got to stop giving up the big plays and play a full 48 minutes.
Coach Owens, when he was evaluating offense and defense, his comment on defense, when you alluded to it, in position to make the play, did not make the tackles, need to tackle better. We've talked about how difficult it is during the season to try to get the work you need on improving your tackling.
Right. It is very difficult because there's always the injury factor. You don't want to be in the middle of a drill and it be a simple drill, but whenever you're trying to tackle, there's just freak things that can happen, just crazy things. And actually, one of those things that happened at the beginning of the season in a tackle drill, which caused Austin Dodd to not be able to play the first scrimmage and first football game. So, you have to be really careful with that. And when it comes to working on tackling, we can do all the tackle drills that we want, but ultimately, you have to be put in the situation to have to make tackles in order to become a really good tackler. That's where spring ball, comes into play, and And I felt like, and I still feel like, because we did do spring ball last year, I feel like we're tackling better than we've tackled in the past, however many years. We got better as far as being better tacklers, but there is obviously still more work to be done, and we're going to continue to do that whenever we have the opportunity to do that, but not jeopardize the season.
Yeah. If you liked Mount Pleasant, you probably would like Greenville. I'm not sure they have the talent that Mount Pleasant has, but as far as scheme and everything, I guess it can be a very similar approach to loving to run that football.
Yes, they do. They love to run the football, and they motion more than any team that we've played. And if you go back to Florida Seminole Ridge, those guys motion quite a bit. Well, they have nothing on Greenville. Mm-hmm. I told the defensive guys yesterday, for every 2 plays that they're running or snapping the ball, one of those plays or within 3 plays, one of those plays is going to be some type of motion. And they do a good job with what they're doing motion-wise. They get the ball to different people, running the same type of schemes, but it's tough on you because you have to defend the motion. You may have heard people say, motion and moving and all that kind of stuff on offense is a bunch of smoke and mirrors. Well, they do a good job with those smoke and mirrors because they make you have to line up and not get outflanked and defend what they're trying to do. And with all that being said, they up front, their O-line, they have what I refer to as a big side and a small side. The right side of their O-line is large. They are some big human beings. And then on the left side, they're kind of small, just somewhat athletic O-linemen. So we have to. That's a force that we have to reckon with and be ready to go against up front. And then they have some skill guys. It's Greenville. I think back to Greenville whenever I play. There was always some skill guys, athletes that we better be careful whenever the ball's in those guys' hands because they can do some damage. And sure enough, they can. And a lot of those guys are the motion guys. They'll get the ball in their hands, be it through an option, through handing it off with a fire sweep, and then they'll throw a bubble out to them and then get you in space and see if you can make a tackle on them. So they're doing a good job with their offensive scheme, and it makes it tough for you defensively because it really does balance you out, and you have to deal with the motions and all the other things that they can do with it.
How good is his younger brother? I guess this is Kadamian Hale.
Yes.
That's now their main runner.
Right. He's not taking any credit from him. He's not his brother yet, but he has glimpses of being that type of football player with the ball in his hands. So we have to do a good job, like you said. We got to make we have to do a good job of making tackles. We can't let him get loose in the open field because he can run really well. And with that being said, he's a great downhill runner. He's not a big shifty, I'm going to try to make you miss guy. I'm going to run over you. I'm a big bruiser, and once he does get by you, he's tough to catch. So he's going to be one of the key elements to us having to try to control and keep in check. So again, with him and then those other receivers, it's something that we have to be prepared for. And again, we got to go make tackles, we make plays, and see what happens.
Mount Pleasant obviously very challenged to try to throw the football. I think they completed 1.
Yes.
And maybe didn't throw much more than that.
Right.
How good is Greenville at throwing the football?
They do a good job. They again, there's some things that they do schematically that kind of bothers me. Just to be honest with you, they'll sprint out the quarterback quite a bit, and be it right or left. He does a good job of completing passes, sprinting out either direction. With the guys that they have releasing, be it the running back or one of those receivers running what we call a little stick route or a curl or anything like that. He does a good job putting the ball on those guys. I remember Saturday when we were game planning and watching film, I told the other coaches, I said, this guy does a good job on his sprint out, putting the ball where it needs to be to get it on those guys to catch it. And you have to do a good job of making sure you get on them and cover them. Otherwise, you're going to be put in a bind because they're just going to dink and donk you all the way down the field, and they have the opportunity to do that.
The Yantis Owls and Lady Owls will be competing at the regional cross-country meet this Saturday in Grand Prairie after strong showings at a recent district meet. The Lady Owls won the district meet with their runners taking first and second place. The Owls were second in district with a runner finishing first in district. The Lady Owls are made up of Maggie Hooker, Bailey Bush, Jackie Lopez, Jenna Latham, Casey Moore, and Emily Davis. Members of the Owls cross-country team are Bradley Potts, Marshall Anderson, Dallas Scott, Caden Bush, E.J. Sublett, and Zachary Shearer.
Thanks for watching Channel 18 News. Have a great evening.
We've been having 9 meetings this week, and so I think they're trying to get everybody's money in by the end of the week. So next Tuesday we should have some buying.
John invited me to come to one of y'all's meetings on Friday, but I was cooking barbecue at Beaufort Park. I just figured y'all wanted me to stink your bank up a bit smoke.
Okay, the county, everybody gave, and 2 departments they gave, and one of the ladies, court reporter, she gives me all my money. I wish I could tell you what my total was, but I don't have my glasses on.
$2,671.
I don't know if that exceeds a goal, but it should.
We're happy with the way.
Madison Gas met their goal. Bobby Kirby's Garage beat his goal. West Oaks Funeral Home beat their goal. East Texas Linex met their goal. Vidito Trucking met his goal. Interstate Body Shop increased their goal by like 36%. Mockery CrossFit didn't meet their goal. Commercial Glass and Door met his goal, and the Way Radio Group met their goal, and Silver Springs Dodge beat their goal by almost 100%.
I'm glad I'm going 100 goals.
To your defense, you have turned in most of your.
Kaiser Glass has decided not to do this year. And anybody needs anything or has any more pull than I do, you go by there. I've got Echo Publishing, talked about this morning, be ready next Tuesday, I'll pick it up. So besides that, I'm done, so if anybody needs help, anything, let me know.
Good job, thank you.
I got 3 Johnson Law Firm, almost met their goal. Powers and Law Firm, 310, and Public met their goal.
Okay, now I have the bank's packet, and last year, the banking employees got $8,430. This year, will you do a drum roll?
We all will.
We collected a total of $9,287.